Chihuahua, hotty footy. The Force is back. Welcome to the Star Wars Collector's Archive podcast, hosted by Skye Payne, Fudd, and Steven B. Dent. Skye and Steve talk torture this episode with 8D8 in his role in Jabba's dungeon. We get into the original designs, proof cards, cromalins, prototypes, and playsets. Then, completionist extraordinaire Duncan Jenkins joins to talk about some unloved international cards and has his first installment of How Duncan Can You Get? Plus a Marketwatch game with high branding stakes. All this month on the 107th Chivecast. Wampa Wampa.
Welcome to Chivecast 107.
Yeah, Steve, I knew the number of this because you were very upset that our episode about 8D8 was in fact episode 107 and not 108.
It actually makes like perfect sense for us. We were that close.
Yeah, I mean, if we timed it correctly, it should have been episode 88, right?
Yeah,
so it doesn't quite really matter. I'm seeing your news. So, you know, we often talk about the figure first, or we'll kind of catch up. Actually, Steve, before we get to the actual news, as of today, Thursday, June 25th, you just released another episode of your little podcast. So I think you should pitch that now. People should hear that before they hear us say a single word about 8D8. Tell me about your most recent episode, Steve.
All right. Well, so yeah, I try and do these maybe for a year. That's like my goal. So this is the first one for this year, and I talked to this Japanese graphic artist Kaz Umuri. He does this really great work for the sequels, and yeah, I talked to him way back. I think it was in January before everything went upside down, and finally put the episode together and put it out. So. Yeah,
and it's all about like his life and watching Star Wars in Japan and what that experience was like.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was born in Osaka. It's all about that, and it was tough because he's not all that fluent in English. So we were, it was an interesting challenge actually, in terms of interviewing and making sure we were both on the same page. And he's such a nice guy. So yeah.
So
thanks for checking it out.
The great thing is that if you've ever heard Steve's solo show, he's really good at interviewing. But if you hear Steve and I interviewing people, he just goes full Garth and doesn't say a single word. So I'm just imagining this hour and a half of just like, so did you see Star Wars?
Yeah,
and then him like fumbling through some English, and then you being like, cool. So
yeah, it's more like it's like a hybrid of Garth and then the Chris Farley SNL interviewer nervousness. Right. It's both of those things together. No,
No, you step up your interview game on that show. So yeah, I wanted to get that out there because it's really fun, and it's actually usually better than this podcast. So.
Wow, don't say that. That's not true.
No, but it's really good. It's very concise.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been paying attention, Steve. My little YouTube channel.
You're blowing up, man.
Yeah, I'm over 3,000 subscribers now. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I learned something important, Steve. Do you know who are the most butthurt fans in the entire world?
Well, we're familiar with some, but I don't know. I'm not sure in terms of the music.
Star Wars fans have nothing on Bob Dylan.
Oh yeah, okay.
This guy is the most rewarded and loved figure in all of history. I own at least 30 of his 39 albums, and I talked about how great he is, but I just made a few criticisms, and I swear to God,
oh no,
it was like I was attacking Jesus. Anyway.
Well, Bob seems like a pretty chill guy. I don't know. It seems like he wouldn't.
He doesn't take himself as seriously as people who like him do. But yeah, so that's what we're doing when we're not doing this show, Steve. And speaking of things that we're not doing,
yes,
the big news is, thank God, you heard it here first. Celebration Anaheim is, as they say in Spanish, cerrado.
Yeah, I couldn't. I think when that news broke, I literally could not express my relief. That's all I could say. I'm like, I cannot tell you how relieved I am that
and I'm sure that we have some COVID deniers who listen, and that's fine. I live with a scientist who is just very smart and actually does study this stuff professionally. So I'm just like, I knew if the show was happening that I wouldn't allow myself to go.
Yeah,
and it would have killed me, and we would have had to cancel the archive party because it wouldn't have been ready.
And I wouldn't have done either.
Yeah, I mean, it just would have been terrible, and the whole time I would have had this weird mixture of like FOMO and anger, and I mean, there have even been some events, New York events that have gone on, and just like I'm not gonna like hang out, like I'm not gonna like
just
chill
not
with
ready.
the Huda and the jalapeno poppers, like I'd love to, but I'm not gonna do it.
So
I mean,
no archive
jalapeno
party
poppers.
this year.
Yes, no archive party this year. If you are a sponsor, you should have gotten an email from Steve about rescheduling the event.
Soon. It hasn't happened yet, but it will.
Well, that's my way of putting pressure on you, Steve. If I say that Steve has sent you an email, that means you'll have to do it this weekend. Because I'm editing over the weekend. Yeah.
The clock is ticking on that now, so definitely.
But the addition that I came up with is that you are going to get a special Stormtrooper pin if you transfer to the next archive party. Yeah, and I'm not joking. I'm going to make it a Stormtrooper pin.
I knew that you weren't joking when I read that. Sadly, I'm like, oh, God, I really wish he was kidding about this. But no, we got time. So
and then the other thing is that we are maybe going to have a virtual archive party.
Yeah, looking
now,
into that.
The only problem with that is I have no idea what that means. So if you know, please contact Steve or I. Contact us through Facebook about how we could do something. Like, my daughter's been doing these drawings of the characters from the Kellerman book, like the figures, and I was thinking it'd be fun to auction those off and give the money to a charity, and maybe like get artists on, have it be like an auction charity kind of thing. So we're going to try to do something for the same day that the archive party would have been.
Right.
But that's a long way off.
TBD.
Steve, yes. Speaking of TBD, we're here to talk about 8D8, Steve.
Yes, the good old torture master.
So I have a lot of thoughts, Steve, as you might imagine.
Yes. Yeah.
First of all, torture is... I actually read an article in preparation this episode where it's describing the amount of torture in popular cinema, and it's ubiquitous. Like torture... Like, there's torture in Zootopia. Like, it is everywhere.
Yeah, that is strange.
And the original Star Wars trilogy, each episode has a very scary torture scene. A scene that when I was a child, I saw and really scared me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is like some kind of Spielbergian, Walt Disney, you have to scare kids in order for them to get really connected, or some kind of visceral response. I did just watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street with my kids this afternoon.
Oh, man.
But, like, 8D8 is definitely the most winner of all torture droids, right? Because let's think about the torture droids, right? We got Dr. Ball in the first one.
Right, that's right.
Then you have Ouchie Chair.
Ouchie Chair.
Right, who tortures Han Solo. And then you have 8D8. But I have so many questions about this, Steve. First of all, what is the point of being a torture droid who operates a machine? Like, shouldn't the machine just be a droid?
Right. See, this is getting to something I was thinking about him, too, is that, I feel like most droids, for the most part, they don't necessarily look good or evil. I feel like most of the time they don't. But 8D8, he just looks sinister. Like, he is the most sinister-looking droid in all of Star Wars.
He is, and he seems to be enjoying it.
Yes.
And if you look behind 99, or EV99, you'll see that there's a 2-1B being just tortured by a machine.
Yes,
so,
right.
It's weird. It's weird that you have a machine operating the torturing device. Yes. Another question, right? He's not torturing him, Steve. What is he actually doing?
He's branding him? Is that what's supposed to be happening? Yeah.
He's branding him, but if you watch the scene like I have on repeat for the last 7 hours...
I did the same. Not quite 7 hours, but I did watch it on repeat yesterday.
He brands that thing like 6 times.
It's...
I don't know how much time you've spent on a ranch, Steve, but I spent about 10 weeks on a ranch in Wyoming.
Right. The subplot, it surfaces every now and again on the show.
In the Teton Valley. And I can tell you, you don't brand a steer more than once.
Yeah.
You just So, obviously, the droid is a sadist and enjoys hurting the droid that he's hurting.
Right.
But another thing, you don't, brand the bottom feet. You don't, why would you brand the bottom of something's feet? In order to see who it belongs to, those things can't stand on one foot, right? They don't have the balance. So you'd have to actually push the entire thing over.
Tip them over,
Tip it over, and then look on the bottom and say, oh, Jabba the Hutt, cool, put it back.
Well, that was the other question I had, is when you look at the shape of the brand, it literally looks just like a grill plate. It's not, there's no symbol, so it's very, it's a strange mix of torture and branding.
And here's another question, Steve. How uniform are the droids in the Star Wars universe?
Right, yeah.
How many droids can you brand with that machine?
It seems very tailored to power droids.
If you tried to do that to R2-D2, you'd just burn his dick, right? If you tried to do that to C-3PO, you'd scald the inner part of his leg.
Right.
It only works for power droids. So does that machine only exist in the basement just to brand power droids? And are there that many power droids, out and about, that you would need that machine for? And a droid dedicated to doing that all day?
Right, yeah. It was very, I'd say, borderline traumatizing, because I loved Return of the Jedi that was my favorite growing up, and that scene, that kind of transition between that 2-1B just getting ripped apart, and then the poor power droid just getting, that does stick with kids. I think it definitely stuck with me.
Yeah, and I think this is a toy podcast, and we'll get to the toys, but shut up, everybody.
We will.
There is something too about the fact that the things that are being destroyed are old droids from the old movies. So that there is some degree to which, Luke is growing up and he's putting away childish things, and he's getting his cool lightsaber and everything. That as an audience, as a child, you have to grow up and see the toys that you used to play with being tortured by the toys that you're going to play with. you know? There is a kind of passage into adulthood or something.
Yeah.
Some kind of realization of the way that the world works. I don't know, Steve. I might just be a dreamer. And one more thing about that scene.
Yeah.
You know who the winner of that scene is? It's always the winner, one of the top 10 whenever we do this game, Steve. It's the power droid.
Well, yes. Yeah,
because let me give you a list of the things that you see tortured in the Star Wars universe. Princess Leia, Han Solo, power droid. Okay? That in your head, those are the things that... So in my mind, this elevates power droid to the point where this is now the power droid from the Jawa Sandcrawler. I think we need to say it. I think we need to say it's canon, that it's the same one.
It's the one, yeah.
And that it has some kind of special information, or that it's been through something, and that it has its own adventure. So it's I think that's the real winner, even though it ends up getting branded 6 times. And also, since when... why does the gonk now talk? If we were doing an episode about
right,
we'd be upset. Because we'd be like, why do we call it gonk, Steve? What does it say, Steve?
It's all it says in that original is just gonk, gonk, right?
But now it's all like, oh no, hey, knock it off, not the feet. Whoa, 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 watch it, buddy. Choochie, wow, hottie, footy.
Oh, yeah. That was a good rendition there.
Thank you. So, I guess those are my general thoughts on 8D8 and that scene. I will also say, Steve, what is 8D8's only line?
Does he have a line?
Not in the movie.
Not in the movie, huh?
In the Kenner commercial.
Oh, God.
Do you know what he says, Steve?
I actually didn't catch the commercial for this round. What does he say?
How's business?
Are you kidding?
No, he says that to Leia Bush.
Oh, that is
business.
The galaxy explodes. The rebels return. You can relive it all with Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
How's business? Not bad for a bounty hunter.
Chewbacca, Princess Leia, new 8D8 and ATST driver action figures, each sold separately.
Take me to Endor, ATST driver. I've no orders. You do now. Princess Leia? One move and I'll set off this thermal detonator. Let's go!
Chewbacca, Princess Leia Organa, new 8D8 and ATST driver each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars Return of the Jedi collection.
Oh, that's amazing.
How's business?
So that is just, I love the idea of the clueless Kenner executives who are like, I don't know what this thing is. What does it say? I don't know. It looks like a banker droid. I don't know. How's business?
Oh, that is perfect. Wow.
So I am thinking that maybe for the virtual archive party, we'll make little T-shirts with 8D8, just having it say "How's business."
How's business?
Just even that sentence, like "How's business?" Like how? What a weird line.
Oh, that is so bizarre, but so perfect. Oh, that's great.
All right, I've been talking a lot, Steve. You prepared a lot of stuff, but I came right out the gate with things to talk about, huh?
No, it's good. It's good. So just a quick note on him being a villain. I think we can safely say that he is, because he was included in a catalog pack that was just titled 7-Pack Villains.
Okay.
So that settles that. But I don't know if you want to get into the behind the scene stuff, or okay.
So he's definitively a villain.
Yes.
But let's say who else they put in there: Klaatu, Nikto, the Emperor's Royal Guard, ATST driver, Rancor Keeper.
To me he's much less of a villain than 8D8.
I'd say he's more of a victim.
Yeah.
He just loved too much.
Oh man, that's going to be a good episode whenever we get to him.
Yes. Okay, so Steve, you're saying that you want to get, now that we've talked about the toy for like 1 second. I talked about the Kenner commercial, and later he has another line later where he goes, Princess Leia, because when he finds out that his business partner was actually Princess Leia, that's his other line. But you want to get behind the Steve, and you want to talk about Skeleton Droid? Let's go behind the Steve!
Yeah, well, this kind of piggybacks on what we were talking about, in that he really does kind of look kind of ghastly, and there was this concept art that sold on Prop Store, I don't know when, but I'd never seen it before, and it almost looks like something that Stephen Gamble would have drawn, like the guy who does those scary stories in the dark. It's this very grotesque and creepy looking design for what's clearly 8D8, and it is very skull-like, which to me just reinforces like our kind of inner feelings about him. Like, yeah, that's definitely what he looks like on the inside too.
Yeah, but, it's also the face that he has. Just kind of like the eyes. He reminds me of Frank Langella. You know the actor.
Yes, yeah.
Wait,
he also played Skeletor.
No. The guy he reminds me of is the guy who plays Tessio in Godfather.
Oh
my God, this is the best call ever. I have to look it up now. 1 second. Tessio, Godfather. We almost watched Godfather instead of
Nightmare.
Yeah, instead of Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's too violent. Let's see who plays Sal Tessio. Oh, Abe Vigoda. Oh my God, of course.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
that
8D8.
works.
Abe Vigoda. 8D8. There's something there.
There's something there, yeah. So
this drawing, he's very kind of skeletal. Yeah, we are going to talk about a couple auctions today.
Yeah.
So it was a conceptual sketch.
I'm not sure who did it either. Yeah, that's the other thing that I'm curious about, is who the designer was. Because I looked in the concept art books. I didn't see anything credited to anybody, and I definitely hadn't seen that image before. So it just was kind of neat to go back and see it. And then in terms of there wasn't all that much to him really beyond that, but the script I thought was a little bit interesting in that originally both EV-99 and 8D8 were essentially the same character. There weren't two droids. So in the rough draft, R2 and 3PO go to the boiler room and they meet what's described as a tall, thin, human-like robot named U-8D8, Chief of Cyborg Relations. That's right. And then as it goes along in the next draft, they change the name to EV-8D8. And then the next draft after that, it becomes EV-99, and that's the character you know. So it's interesting that the name definitely kind of had that the name for 8D8 was way back. It was at the beginning, before there were two separate droids. But I thought it was cool that you ended up with both in the end. Yeah,
there is something that Lucas likes to do with droids, right? Where you have the multiple C-3POs, or you'll have the things that look like C-3PO, or even multiple R2 units. Just the sense that, first of all, the boiler room, that's just like... Maybe that's why all the stuff in Nightmare on Elm Street happens in the boiler room, because the boiler room scenes in Nightmare on Elm Street are eerily similar to Jabba's dungeon. But that's neither here nor there. But the just having these droids that look similar but just a little bit off, it reminds you that they're appliances, that they're not people or they're not actual characters, they're just appliances. And he constantly tries to remind you of that, despite the fact that you love R2-D2 and you love C-3PO.
Yeah, no, it's true. So that's it about, as far as the behind the scenes stuff. There wasn't a whole lot, but... Well,
I read some behind the scenes stuff about where they tortured R2-D2, and I actually mentioned it earlier in the episode. I was thinking about editing it out, but it's... and that's where that noise comes from. I did write a Skye-Ku.
Yes. I figured this one's going to be deep, a deep cut.
Well, it is, because the real question is, that's what we read on EVU 8D8-99. What we read is happiness that he's doing it. Right. But we don't really know how he feels, and I think that his life is actually pretty miserable itself. Much like the Rancor Keeper, they're all just like cogs in this machine, and they're just a part of this like evil empire that just does harm to everybody, but they themselves end up bearing the brunt of it. Okay. Steel, torture, fire. Humanoid cog machine man, programmed to be pain.
Programmed to be pain. That might have to be the answer to how's business.
Yes, how's business? Programmed to be pain. As a host, like, how's it going? Same old different day.
Right.
Programmed to be pain. Apparently, you want to talk about Disneyland.
That could be very brief, and I might have even mentioned it before, but I have to say that my favorite thing about that whole Star Wars land is that they stuck 8D8 in there on this giant rotisserie roasting this weird animal. So instead of grilling power droids, he's grilling food, and it still somehow seems like it works. But it's just one of those things where, like, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh my god, it's 8D8. And most people kind of walk by, they're not paying any attention at all. But just a fun. I like the detail like that more than the big picture stuff. But yeah.
Well, that's cool. We don't have to talk about Splash Mountain then.
Maybe not.
He killed my childhood. Dude, how many times is your childhood going to get killed? Like, your childhood has got so many lives. I mean, George Lucas started the job.
Right.
But everyone just... Your childhood is just like... I mean, it's just, how many times does it come back? I'm lucky. My childhood has never been killed. And there have been many attempts. The whole Transformers franchise was an attempt on my childhood's life. But fortunately, I just didn't care. So I was totally safe.
Yeah. That series of assassins of movies just had nothing on you. Anyway.
Okay, so now, Steve, you actually want to talk about the card back art. And I am all for talking about this card back art, because the card back art is a good example of quality, confusing Star Wars card back art. But, like, you see the figure, it makes sense. It's another one of these characters where there's basically only one image of it anywhere.
Exactly.
So you can get it. You can get it both ways. Flip to the left, flip to the right. But either way, you're getting the same damn image over and over again. With this little Abe Vigoda face.
Yeah. It is true that it is the one thing that you see for every type of product, any kind of placement. It's just this one image.
But again, he has a look here. He doesn't look like he's enjoying it. He does look like it's just his,
it's a job.
It's a living, that he's just doing this painful thing where, maybe actually this is sort of a Samuel Beckett type thing, like a Waiting for Godot thing, and this is just their entire life. They're like they wake up in the morning and they go to bed at night, and they're always just doing this. It's just these same two droids just stuck in a no exit kind of situation.
Endless cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
is actually what Waiting for Godot is about, partially. Interestingly enough, it is partially about like a semi-sadomasochistic relationship. At one point, this character comes in. He sort of implied that he always causes pain to his partner.
There you go. There you have it.
I do think there's a Beckett reading in here. So, yes. Well, good. That was a good episode, Steve. So, next month...
Yeah.
So, what do you want to say about the card back?
Well, I think it's funny because on the actual card back itself, the bubble area completely obscures the power droid altogether. So when you see the original photographic image, when you see the goofy power droid with his legs kind of kicking there, it just, I don't know, there's just something really kind of funny about it.
Yes.
And also, they clearly did a lot of work behind 8D8, and then they added some extra sizzle to the grill for artistic purposes, I guess. But it makes it very just kind of abstract. Without the power droid's feet, what would be great is if someone did a custom where they put an upside down power droid in this card and just had that right above it. But I just thought it was interesting the kind of the lengths they went to manipulate it for a character that, like you said, I don't know how popular this figure was. It definitely isn't one that I think, like you were saying, most people outside of the real hardcore type fans would really recognize as a Star Wars guy. But still, like, you see all the lengths they went to for this card back it's just fun. Like that's what I love about this.
I can't believe I haven't noticed this. But the way that it is, Steve, who is 8D8 torturing?
Himself.
Yeah. He just a carded 8D8 figure is just somebody torturing themselves for eternity.
For eternity.
I mean, the dungeon is a hellscape, right? Like, it's different layers of hell, and there's monsters, and there's, like, you have your guides and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he really is, maybe 8D8 feels the pain of the droid. I don't know. It is something amazing. It almost looks like a halo or something floating above his head.
Yeah,
in the cardback image.
Right. It's not quite. It doesn't look quite. It's definitely manipulated a lot compared to the original image. But yeah.
Wow. Well, that's awesome, Steve. That definitely. I think that cardback art really deserves all the attention that it's got. There's also an interesting thing as far as cardback art goes. The Trilogo cardback art, which we don't always mention.
Right.
And the Trilogo website was done by a guy named Joe. And he used to be an 8D8 collector. I found out recently that he sold off his whole collection. So that's why we're not having him on here. But it's funny because the branding machine is just totally off of the... It's just blocked by the French text. So you can't see it.
Okay.
So
he's just kind of floating there.
Yeah, he's kind of floating there on his yellow nameplate as opposed to blue.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then there was also an auction recently for the unproduced Power of the Force 8D8.
Oh wait, what's this? I think I missed that.
Oh, that's right, Steve. Someone did some good research today. Yes, at a Hakes auction, a Power of the Force 4 square corner proof was auctioned off. Actually, I think it's a Cromalin. Yeah, I think it's a Cromalin.
Okay.
Of the unproduced 8D8, and it's just a really nice image, and you don't see the brand at all. It's just him in the square. And Steve, how much do you think that sold for?
So this sold today?
I don't know. Sometime last year.
Recently? Okay. Oh God. I don't know. Let's say 6,500.
7,000. Very good, Steve.
Wow. Jeez.
Good. So do you, if you would like to talk about, why do I have Duncan in my head so much? We're fine. You promised me we're fine.
Yeah. We're all good, Skye. Don't worry. We're fine.
I'm putting my stress in other things in my life on this, so I just need to know I'm doing that.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, we've got a good 20 minutes.
Of all the people to stress out about, too, Duncan's very relaxed. He's a very cool guy.
Yes. Yeah.
He would want us to keep going on. I swear, Steve, I'm about to have a hyperventilation attack here on the episode. He would want us to talk not about the Noodle cards, because obviously that's a Duncan talk.
Yes.
But he would want us to talk about, maybe a Nugget?
Yes.
'Tis a Nugget from the archive. 'Tis a Nugget.
Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
From the archive.
Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
Okay, Steve, so this is the time to talk about Jabba the Hutt's dungeon playset.
Yes.
Which, there's no way of getting around it. It's the torture playset. Of course, there would have been a torture playset for Bespin as well, but that was unproduced. But
right.
It's pretty amazing that there's 2 of the 3 torture scenes to get playsets.
Yeah.
And I saw some interesting things in here. So what do you want to say about what are all these things that you're...
There's a couple of items here that I think kind of speak to the torture aspect and in an interesting way. So the first item is it's a photograph really of a concept model for this playset. And so it has the mocked up new version, so it's the base of the old Droid factory painted in gray. It's got the 3 new figures that were coming out with this set from Sears. So it has 8D8 Nikto, like we talked about last month, and then Klaatu Skiff. And then it has this really great concept painting for what the play set was going to be. And so the first thing I noticed was that the power droid is featured in the painting for the play set. So you see the little thing that he would have been hanging in, and you can see the little grill branding thing that would have been used on him. So the other thing to note too is that in this, it has all of the Droid factory parts as well.
Right.
And when the set came out, it didn't have anything. It just had the crane. And there's a great line, I'm almost certain Ron wrote this, I'm positive, where he talks about the lack of the parts when it was released. And he says that, quote, the only thing you could do with this was stick an R2-D2 figure to the crane and swing him around like an angry cylindrical piñata. So, which is true. I mean, that you got the crane, but you didn't even get any of the parts. So I think it kind of shows the initial ambition of the playset that didn't really make it to the end. There's also, I don't know if you noticed the wind-up Takara R2-D2 that's in there.
Yes.
And he, Ron talks about whether or not that was maybe something they were thinking about including, and I think that's really interesting.
That would have made it very interesting. For consumers to say now with wind-up R2-D2.
Right, exactly. Because you had that weird R2 from the original set, so I could see the logic of them including a new weird R2-D2 in this set, but that didn't happen either. It's I don't know. I like seeing these initial phases of things and how they really usually show something that was a little bit more ambitious than what ends up on the shelf. Do you have any other thoughts on the concept model?
No, just that I've never thought about the dungeon playset even once. I just have. I mean, I know it exists, right? I'm not.
Right.
But if you asked me, was 99er in there 8D8? Only today did I look it up and realize, later editions came out with 99. We'll talk about that.
Yep, we'll talk about that then.
I just haven't really thought about it because my parents never bought me one, and I think if you gave it to me, I would have been disappointed. I mean, even with 3 Star Wars toys, I would have been like, no, I'm straight. It's what does it do? It's a piece of plastic, and like. Even the Droid factory doesn't really appeal to me. So
I think you have to have, if anything, you have to have a little bit more of like an interactive type play to it, and this is really just a piece of gray plastic in the end. So the second piece, which I figured you might be even more interested in,
I am,
was a Cromalin for the playset. So this was, the early kind of approval of the package design, and it's got a great running change that took place, which goes back to our theme of torture.
Yes, and it's fascinating too because often Cromalins are not that interesting. I mean, they're always beautiful because the way the colors pop, the paper, it's very rich, but they don't always have interesting content. This is sort of a revolutionary thing that I'd never thought about, and it has actual change to actual text.
Yeah.
So what this article, which was, I guess, written by Mensinger, I believe.
I think so,
Mike Mensinger, and it's all about the collection from Joe O'Brien, the collector who no longer, I guess he probably doesn't have this anymore. But he points out that if you have a Jabba the Hutt dungeon action playset, or as we call it, a Tajahadapap, if you have that, you have a sticker on it. And there's a sticker that says, use the branding iron on any droids in Jabba's dungeon. Right. You've never noticed that there's a sticker.
Right.
If you peel that sticker off, you would see what it said on the original Cromalin that they weren't even interested in changing, and instead they just used a sticker. And the original text was, the branding iron will torture any droids in Jabba's dungeon.
I like that the pairing of words "iron will" is in that sentence.
Yes, that's true.
It's a very assertive, aggressive statement for a child's toy. But,
well, just everything about it. I mean, do kids know what branding is, anyways?
Right.
I don't think they really do.
Not really, probably.
And it really confuses the issue. Is he branding or is he torturing? Because branding is not torturing.
Right. Yeah, it opens up a lot of psychological, moral questions. But yeah, it's I love that detail on this, and that it's captured on this Cromalin. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. But that's hiding on every single box.
Yep.
Every single box includes the word torture.
Hidden underneath.
Underneath.
Yeah.
And then the actual production playset is just a boring piece of nothing.
Right.
But I guess it was a Sears exclusive, so I guess that's kind of neat.
Right, yeah. And,
I do like in the catalog picture they have 8D8 sort of in an action pose, sort of doing the Running Man, and that's pretty cool because I don't associate him with doing anything other than just standing there like a forlorn old pagoda.
Right. Yeah, when they took away his torturing device, so what else is he going to do? He's got to dance around a little bit. So, yeah. We don't talk about playsets all that much, but this seemed like the right time to do it.
Yes. Wait, so in the actual toy has the brand, though, right?
No, I don't think so. I think it just has the hook.
The box has the brand.
I'm pretty sure. We should confirm
this. The box
this.
shows the brand, but the actual toy doesn't have the brand.
I don't think it does.
So then how could it say on the box, use the brand on any...
Yeah, maybe that's a mistake.
Are we actually going to look this up? Oh my god, Chris is rolling around in his grave. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Jabba's Dungeon playset.
You know what? Okay, I have it up. It does have... It has... What looks like it's kind of like a branding iron. Yes, it does have one. So yeah, that catalog image happens to not. But yeah, so there's the hook, and then there's the little branding piece at the end.
Okay. Yeah, that does make a difference because the branding iron makes it a little bit cool.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, Steve. Well, that was pretty exciting. I don't know what we're going to say about. You want to do a vintage vocab as well?
Yeah, I figured this is a short and simple one, but it's just something interesting to know about 8D8. Do you want to hit that?
Let them folks change our vocabulary. Change our vocabulary.
Cromalin, Sapporo, Frosty, MIB, MOJ, CMYKUC. It's vintage.
Okay.
So I believe it's one of the words I use in the intro, which I now have to find, Steve. Thank you so much. Which is a 2-up.
Yes, 2-up.
A 2-up just means what, Steve?
Just basically means that whatever you're talking about was designed at a 2-to-1 ratio. So, with the coins and stuff, you hear those talked about as 6-ups because the coin design was 6 times larger than the production coin. And then it happens to be that 8D8 and EV99 were the only two figures, the 3 3/4-inch figures that were sculpted at a 2-to-1 ratio. So there's a couple of pieces on the archive that display this. So you have a painted hard copy, which is basically a double-sized 8D8, which is really, really cool. That's something I would have loved to see in person. So it's made out of Dynacast and painted in really fine detail. And then the second piece, which is something we talked a little bit about last time, it's a Blue Harvest version of the hard copy. So it just kind of shows the detail underneath, but it's not an original vintage piece, but it definitely shows the kind of craftsmanship of the hard copy and the 2-up process.
Yeah,
so
and they're just gigantic.
They're really huge.
Yeah, they're really very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad, Steve.
Yeah.
Now, you also wanted to have some kind of a Debate D8 revival. I get the idea. So if you've been listening to the show for a long time, actually, long-time listener Holger, I can't pronounce his last name, it's in German, suggested to somebody who's saying, what can I listen to that's interesting? He suggested listening to our early podcasts. And my initial take, of course, was like, why not listen to the most recent ones? But then I was like, I wonder what it must be like to listen to our early podcasts. I just know that I sound like Minnie Mouse. Hey guys, Wampa Wampa, welcome to the podcast.
Well, yeah, but it was the birthplace of such great puns as Debate D8,
Yes, so we used
without
to have,
further plot
we used to have, without further clout too, we used to have a debate section where we called a Debate D8.
I'm not going to debate you, Jerry. I'm not going to sit here and debate you.
And I can't fight.
Fight!
What's a battle?
And I can't fight.
Fight!
What's a battle?
The value of the deal or no deal on Facebook.
I kind of preface this. I don't necessarily think this is a debate. I just wanted you to pull up that that drop again because it's awesome. But it's just one of those things where it's a funny migration point in the hobby that happens every now and then, and it just seems like everyone that is there all of a sudden, and it's all sorts of activity, and it's very popular.
I'm going to join it right now. You ready?
Okay.
I hit join. Do you buy by? Yes, I do. Do I agree? Yes, I do. So I'm now a member of the Deal or No Deal group, which I wasn't a member of for a long time until about right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you haven't been following this, it used to be that in order to sell something on a group, you had to give a price.
Right.
Now you don't. That's the end of my story, right?
That's it.
Why are we calling it something cute? It's just, hey, remember we had that rule that benefited everybody? Yeah, we're not going to have that rule anymore, and instead we're going to do it by this bad way, but everyone's going to do it because you make more money doing it that way. So we'll all just suffer, and our whole hobby will suck a lot more. But for the time that you're the one who's selling, for that brief period of time, for that sliver of time when you're the one who's selling, not the one who's buying, it'll be a slight advantage to you. Yeah. Yeah, what do I think about Deal or No Deal, Steve? I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, that I figured as much. I'm not really either, but I'm also not nearly as engaged in terms of the market side of things anymore. So it's been more of a, what the heck's going on over there kind of thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Christo Aurelius is selling a lot of things on there, and
including a pair of 2-up Dynacast legs for 8D8.
Right.
So
these things are really cool. And people are offering him really not much money.
Yeah, I think that's why it's still there.
Yeah, I think the final one was $13.50.
Yeah,
and I do think that he's been selling a lot, and he doesn't sell a lot from his collection. So if it's getting him to sell things, then that's cool. I mean, there's a chance that it's a positive because some people will only sell if they think it's the most optimal condition.
Right.
And if that's the agreement, then I guess that works.
I think that's one side of it, yeah. And then I don't know if you now you will probably notice since you just joined, but there was a wave of archive party sales on there too. Like all of a sudden, a huge surge of people selling archive party stuff, which was just so crazy to see. But it reminded me, back whenever we were first starting that, like you are always, saying like one day people are going to want this stuff.
They will.
And sure enough, it's just interesting from an inactive collector's point of view, just to kind of watch it happen and see how it unfolds.
Steve, you're not inactive. You're just not very attentive to the market. Cool. So then we're going to do a combination of an unloved item of the month and then a new segment that we just came up with called How Duncan Can You Get? Where we try to figure out how Duncan can just be as Duncan as he wants. And by that I mean have an amazing collection of Star Wars weird things, unexpected things. At least once an episode, there's a time where I go, do you think Duncan has something like that? So we're going to just get him on the show more often. Because of all the sort of luminaries of the hobby, I think he's the one who we've called for the most and had on the least.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. So I'm going to remedy that now.
Okay, I just have to figure out how to call him and get some more water.
All right,
okay.
Sounds good.
You don't hate, only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural.
Okay, Steve, well, we got Duncan on here, and I was trying to describe to him before I hit record why we want him on here, but we just really want to Duncan up the place. It's the corners are too clean. We just need more Duncanage. So welcome aboard, Duncan.
Thank you very much.
How would you define Duncaning?
Well, I guess it's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, we're in our unloved section here, and so there's a couple random pieces of improbable cardboard, and we thought that we'd bring you on to discuss them. Steve, which one should we start with?
So the first one, I don't know if I actually mentioned this to you, Duncan, but I'm sure you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's those Japanese Noodle cards that have the different characters on the front.
That
one of them
Myojo
happens
Noodles.
Right, Myojo, that's right. So I know absolutely nothing about these other than that they exist. I don't know if there's anything interesting behind them or if they're tough to track down.
They're exceedingly tough to track down, yes, even in Japan. Only a couple complete sets that I know of.
Okay.
And I'm missing one, so hopefully I can track one down soon. But it's just been, years and years of searching for them, and they just show up so infrequently. Mm-hmm. Another interesting thing about them, I think there's 30 in the set, if I remember correctly.
Oh, my God.
But they do... What's that?
That's a lot.
It is, exactly. So it's not very easy to do that either. But they have a lot of unique images, some are not of the usual things, which, it's kind of more fun instead of just putting together a set of the same old images. And it's a mix, too. It's mostly Jedi, but there are some Star Wars and Empire thrown into the mix. And so kind of a interesting Hoth hangar, the Rebel base hangar, I remember, is one of the ones that's kind of a behind-the-scenes shot. Huh. And it's kind of one image that you don't see that often. And 2-1B with
some
that
little... Of the ships, too, they seem to be different, like pictures or angles or...
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Some odd angles that you don't always see. And so they seem more like... There's almost studio shots of the models as opposed to something from the films. So.
Yeah, Rob Dougherty had helped me get the B-Wing one because it features essentially just the card back image. So that was it was a fun thing to pick up, but not really quite understanding how difficult they were to track down. That's good to know. Which one are you missing?
Of course, it's Boba Fett.
Oh God,
that's
right. It can't just be some snow speeder or something like that nobody's focusing on.
That's terrible.
So Myojo is a brand of noodles, right?
I believe that to be the case. Yes.
Yeah, and they're just these cards would come. I guess the noodles would be served dry, obviously. So you'd get the cards with the noodles. And yeah, we might as well talk about these, Steve, a little bit, right? Because when else are we going to talk about these?
Yeah.
All these images. I mean, you have the standard. We've decided, Duncan, that 8D8 is played by Abe Vigoda. I don't know if you agree with that or not. But if you remember Sal Tessio from The Godfather, I think that was the model that they based it on. There's also one of these cards of IG-88, and he just looks really alone. Like, it's right. Am I wrong about that, Steve? Have you seen the image of the IG-88? He's just on the Death Star hangar, and he's just kind of like just sitting there. I don't know.
Right. It's not like all the other bounty hunters are around him or anything like that. I think it's just the, behind-the-scenes shot almost, where he's just, riveted to the floor.
They just left the robot, prop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything to try to make it look more real. They just, here's the photo, live with it.
And then the last one I'd want to talk about is the C-3PO, because I'm pretty sure that's the C-3PO that Lily Ledy used on their card back, right? Didn't Lily Ledy use a different C-3PO image for their card back?
Yes, if I remember correctly, the C-3PO and the R2-D2 are both the images that the Lily Ledy card backs used for their C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah, and the C-3PO, I believe he's in the Endor bunker. I think that's where he is, and he's a little bit redder or something.
No, it's the Millennium Falcon, isn't it?
Your trademark is stupidity.
Oh, well, I would defer to you on that one. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Cause it's an Empire picture. I should probably go get it and look at it instead of going off of my memory here.
Oh, I'm kind of cheating. I'm looking at Rob Doherty's Facebook post about it. So that's how I see it.
I can find it fairly quickly. But if I remember correctly, it's like the R2 is the one where he's in Bespin.
Yes.
That kind of scene where him in the hallway, and then the C-3PO is him standing by one of the side Falcon controls where he's, in Empire when they're trying to fix it.
Right.
But
yeah, these things are
a pretty unusual, not very common image.
And even the AT-AT, you think, hey, let's have an AT-AT card, but instead of it being a Hoth scene, it's the Endor scene. And it's just this sort of dark, unreadable image. Yeah, well, these are great. I had never heard of these, Steve.
I hadn't until not that long ago. They're really cool.
I guess it makes sense because there's no Chewie.
I've got mine here, and that's from Empire.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no Chewie, guys. So I guess there's a reason that
there's
they
a reason
wouldn't
I don't
be
care.
on here.
Yeah, so you're safe there.
Oh man,
that is kind of interesting because it's very, there's not that many of the main characters.
True.
Which is again kind of atypical.
Yeah, there's no Han Solo. It's mostly there's a whole bunch of Lukes. You have basically the entire run of Luke. You have a farm boy, you have a skiff, you have a Jabba's dungeon. Yeah. Wow.
Very strange.
See, this is what happens when you Duncan it up, Steve.
So the next thing, before we get into your favorites, it's just another 8D8. It's the same image, but used on, it's probably a similar type deal where it's these Peruvian Pepsi cards.
Right.
And so I just love, I think you put this description on all these cards on the archive, but you just say, send in a full set and be entered into a drawing for a round-trip flight from Lima to Miami. Personally, I'd rather keep the cards.
Yeah.
But, I figured, are these similarly tough to track down as a set?
Yes, they're very, very difficult. And that's a semi-common deal with some of the sets that either trading cards or stickers or some of the food promotions is that you put this set together, you put all this effort into it, and then they tell you to send it in to enter in a contest, or you send it in and you get some other deal and
promotion.
That to me seems kind of a pain, or kind of lame to put all that effort into it and then have to give it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are really great cards. Yeah, and they're also a little bit. They're not always the most expected images either, from what I can tell on these.
As I recall, that's another one of those and there was several too. It was like over 40, I think, on that one.
Oh my gosh!
So that was a pretty good sized set to put together as well. I do have a complete set of that one, so that's good. But I think there's an album for them, which I have not seen, and so I don't own that. But I do believe that exists.
Okay.
Well, a neat thing about that, I was just looking at some of the ones I'm interested in, and the Chewie is the sort of stock drawing image. Lando Skiff, the same thing, like the sort of key art that they would use, just sort of hand drawn.
Yes.
But then the Emperor is him coming down the ramp, and that's really cool because I can't think of that image being, he's sort of like doing the finger guns. He's like, rise, and
yeah.
I really can't. I mean, I have a lot of Emperor stuff. I can't think of seeing that image on anything. So
yeah, wow, these are fun.
Okay, so then that's a good lead up to what we wanted to do every once in a while is just. Do you get the reference? How Duncan can you get, Duncan? Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The reference is to the movie Top Secret. You ever see that movie Top Secret?
I saw it once way back in the 80s. Yes.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Val Kilmer plays a teen idol, and his song was called "How Silly Can You Get?" And so my idea was to do a theme song based on that. But seeing as neither you nor Steve has heard of it, I think maybe I need to come up with a better hook here. Duncan, can you get it? But you sent us, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway.
I know, yeah.
So you sent us 5 things when we said just do some Duncaning for us. This is what you came up with. So take us through, what are the things you decided to share and why?
Okay. Well, yeah, 5 things. Boy, that's almost an impossible task.
Yeah.
With,
it's like 20% of
so
your
I basically
collection.
just stopped once I got to 5.
Okay.
I just didn't even want to think about it anymore. So, because I would have said, "Oh no, this is cool too. I should put that in there. Maybe 6 is okay." Or, let's change this one out. So I'd still be working on it right now, otherwise. But okay, we'll start off with the fancy stationery set.
Fancy.
Yes.
And so it's not just an ordinary stationery set. No, this one's a fancy stationery set.
And where was this made?
This is from the United Kingdom, a company called H.C. Ford, which may or may not be Harrison C. Ford. I don't know. But they did a fairly extensive line of school supplies for Return of the Jedi and just slightly before. So 82, 83 were most of those. But pencil tops and pencils and notebooks and, that kind of item. And so this is a combination, kind of a big box full of stationery items. It's the fancy stationery set. So,
yes.
But I like the artwork on the box. It's pretty unique as well. It's not your typical scenes. And, as is often said, by the time you get to Return of the Jedi, a lot of the artwork is just very standardized.
Right.
This artwork is unbelievable. I mean, it's some of the better artwork I've seen because it reminds me of like a figure case, like
exactly
one of
what I
rectangular
was
figure
thinking.
cases.
Yep.
But it's actually better done because it divides the movie into like multiple sections. So the entire right side is an Endor scene. The top right, you have Biker Scout versus Luke, but there's real expression on his face. They're not just copying some kind of stock photo. And then underneath, you see Han and Leia and Ewoks fighting against an AT-ST, and you see one Ewok kind of bugging out and just running away. I explained to my daughter today the idea that Vietnam is what Endor is based on. That was fun. Walks are always fun. And then on the top left, you have the Jabba's palace, and then the bottom left is just the masterpiece. That's Luke and Vader with the Emperor watching. A totally unexpected angle. There's foreshortening on Vader's arm. It's just totally dynamic. And then the dead center, you have Vader's face and like TIE fighters and X-Wings being chased away. So this art was never used anywhere else, Duncan?
That's correct.
Wow.
So the artwork in the center, the Darth Vader helmet and the dogfights, that is kind of the H.C. Ford logo, so it would show up on a lot of their products.
Okay.
But the artwork around the edges doesn't. It's unique to this.
Yeah. Oh man, it's interesting that Luke is like he's not ever shown in anything but his just really standard Jedi outfit. You don't have him in the poncho or in the robe. It's just that straight Jedi Knight outfit in each image, which I've seen that in a couple other things, but it's just interesting to see it twice here.
Right.
And
even 3 times, really.
3 times, really, yeah.
Also.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then on the inside, you have an eraser that looks like the record, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question, Duncan, just because this might be fun. Do you remember when and under what circumstances you got this stationery set?
There was a couple that I was trading with back in the early 90s in the UK.
Okay.
And so this is where I ended up getting this one from them.
Do you remember what you traded for it?
No, it was kind of funny because they were very interested in, at the time, things like Patrol Dewbacks, Death Star playset, the Kenner one. Skiffs, obviously, were very popular. There was a few things that just they didn't get originally in the UK, and so those were things that they were interested in. And then there was a lot of modern toys too, so like some of the Dick Tracy movie toys. I would go down to the store and buy those and ship them over, and then they'd send me vintage Star Wars stuff. So that was a good trade.
Yeah, you see, Steve, that's why you always ask one extra question. When you have a good person interviewing, you ask one extra question. You might be rude, but you might get an answer like trading a Faces Malone will get you a fancy stationery set. Wow, awesome.
That's right. And the other interesting thing about the fancy stationery set is that the interior is all different. I don't know about always different, but there's multiples of what's inside. So being a completist can make it kind of tough that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So very 80s. We're going with the radio watch with headphones.
Speaking of Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy, exactly. There you go. The TV watch becomes the radio watch in this case.
Yeah.
And so this was a company, Bradley did original Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, and even Droids cartoons watches. So they did a complete run there from 77 to 85 or so. But this is one of the more unique ones. It just is very 80s with those headphones, the little foam ear protectors, and then you would plug that into your watch and be able to listen to the radio.
Now, is this on the archive as well?
It should be.
Okay.
I haven't looked recently, but if it's not, if it's not, I'll get it up there. But it is, I believe.
Okay, yeah, because I was often wondering about that, because that was sort of a secondary thing, is if we can ever help get things, because sometimes it's very often that you will have something amazing and it'll have your name on it and there won't be a picture. So I was like, I just got to call him and he'll send me a picture. And so so this thing is just great.
Now I have been this year. I've put 25,000 photos on the archive, so
really?
We are getting there. Yes, and I've added a couple thousand new items too. So we are getting there. That's one of the things that I've been spending my time doing.
So I know I'm talking to two very humble people who don't like to brag about things that they do. But you guys should be bragging more. Steve, you should be talking more about your podcast. You should be plugging it more. And Duncan, 25,000 more pictures. We should have that should be a banner on the archive that just says now with 25,000 more pictures. I'm going to get Lobart on that.
Kind of what it does is it draws attention to the fact that there should have been 25,000 photos there years ago,
here.
And I'm just now getting around to getting them on there.
Get out of here. That's
an archive is evergreen, Duncan. It's always
that's right.
Yeah, it's
wow. See,
oh man, that's crazy.
I felt bad when I said that because I was like, I hope that Duncan doesn't think I'm dissing his awesome work on the archive. But again, Steve, this is why you push one extra layer, because now we know that this year there are 25. I mean, I guess the quarantine's been good to the archive. But yeah, that's. I mean, that we should have just an entire episode about the 25,000 images.
Yeah,
yes,
crazy.
Exactly. We'll go one by one.
Yes.
Quick fire. Wow.
Yeah, well,
that's
definitely
awesome.
The radio watch with headphones is a beautiful. So the headphones didn't connect. Did they connect to the radio watch?
They connect to the watch. Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. That's the real cool look right there. That's the thing. That,
and there's another version as well, which is R2D2, I believe.
Okay, that was one question I had. Is so the packaging has that kind of generic Wicket liner.
Yes.
Is that actually on the watch somewhere? It's hard.
It is.
It is.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's Wicket and Paplu that are on the watch face as well.
Oh yeah.
But
okay.
those are that line art as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
And you know, like Stranger Things likes to be all 80s retro and all that. You can't have a kid with a wired headphone connected to his watch. The comedy potential for that is just some kid getting dressed up, being like, "I'm so cool, got my headphones on, plug it into my wrist. What could go wrong?"
It's got Ewoks on it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Wow,
yes.
2 for 2, Steve. This is great.
All right, what's next?
All right, so now we're going to move over to Japan.
Okay.
And in Japan, we have the pop-up press kit, which I think is kind of fun.
Oh man, I was wondering what this was. This is
okay. So a
amazing.
press kit is what was given to the press in advance of the movie.
Correct.
And it came out, what, a year later in Japan? Something like that?
No. I believe Jedi came out very contemporaneous, didn't it?
Yeah. I think it was within like a month or so, if I remember right. Yeah, it was definitely that summer. But their press items by far are the coolest out of any. I'd never seen this one. This is great.
So if you remember of the Yomiuri, you know, the main newspaper in Japan, Steve, I'm giving you all these chances to plug your podcast where you talk about Star Wars coming out in Japan. That's why anyways. So you would get this in the mail, and it would be, how do you even describe this thing, Duncan?
Yeah, so the picture that I don't have is that there's a silvery envelope that it came in with the Return of the Jedi logo on it. And I believe that is on the archive, so people can go out and take a look at that. But then there's a nice folder that has the Struzan Revenge art, slightly modified. It's a little shortened to make it more horizontal, quad-like, you know. And then that opens up into information about the characters, the scenes. There's color photos, which is really not typical, I guess, of a press kit either. A lot of times they're black and white.
Right. Yeah.
And then a sticker sheet too that has the Return of the Jedi logos. So it's more designed as kind of a promotion kit as opposed to maybe designed specifically for the press. You know,
right.
It definitely seems to have less of the, it doesn't have any of the stapled mimeographed sheets that say George Lucas began his film career with THX 1138, and all the information that you see in normal press kits. This is just more very promotional, just kind of a zazzy kind of thing to get you excited about the movie.
Yeah.
And
oh man,
it's really effective. So the pop-up thing, that was just an envelope there's a picture here. It's hard to describe, but it's okay. The background image is the medical frigate, and then it's Darth Vader's head from the Death Star in front of it, and then there's an Endor backdrop with Luke in Jabba's palace in front of it. Next to him is the Jabba's palace creatures, and then on the other side is R2D2 and 3PO, and then there's just an Endor floor.
Kind of like mossy forest floor beneath it all.
Yeah, this is like a weird collage that turned into a pop-up scene, and it's really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't seen these. I almost wonder if at this point they were just trying to give things to the press that the press would give to their kids, and then their kids would get excited, and then they would report on that and say, my kids love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know. What do you think something like that would go for now?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know that I've ever seen one up for sale. It's fairly niche, so some things might keep it pretty low, but on the other hand, it's pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
So it would really kind of depend on what the person tried to ask for it. I think it's one of those things you could probably find in the $50 to $100 range.
Right.
At the same time, somebody could easily put it out and try to get, $200 to $400 for it, and maybe get somebody like Steven to, buy it or something.
Yeah. How did you know, Duncan, that I was trying to figure out what to get Steve for Christmas?
That's right.
I was just... Anyways, you have any more Japanese friends hanging around who wanna help me hook Steve up? I think that'd be... I mean, of course, you just have to give it to his baby and just destroy it, and that's fine.
That's right.
Oh, cool. Well, I think we have 2 more items left. These first 3 have just been delightful. What?
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, so the next one is a pretty hefty piece. Kind of shows you some of the ways that by the time Jedi was coming around, you were getting some pretty big pieces of furniture, literally in this case. And so it's the headboard for a child's bed.
That's what that is. You just send us this image with no context. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. I think that was
right, exactly.
The fun idea.
And you can't even really tell the size either, but it's huge. It's a good headboard size, and it's probably an inch thick and really heavy wood.
And now we need a selfie, Duncan, of you with your head beneath it so we can get the scale.
Put a little pillow, my little Jedi pillow right there. And,
and let's describe it.
So this is from the United Kingdom.
Oh,
okay. A company in Ireland with the unfortunate name of Kidnap. Which, just because you can do a pun doesn't mean you should. I think we should all learn from that. But and this is another example where they use that kind of typical line art, particularly for the Vader and the Luke. But they do it in a good way. It doesn't come across as the same old image that you've seen. It's highlighted a little differently, and the Stormtrooper's different.
Right. Yeah.
So
I don't remember the Stormtrooper. So, I feel like you see the Vader and Luke on their own a lot, but the combination is actually really cool.
Well, it's the thing is, it's the layering and the framing. So it's got this sort of this red shape in the background, and the way that it's Darth Vader, then Luke, and then a Stormtrooper, and Luke is in the middle, but he's contained by the sort of oval over him. But Stormtrooper and Darth Vader both break out of it, so it really feels like alive, right? It doesn't seem like... It's clear that it wasn't just a pre-cut piece with something painted on it. It actually was made to fit Vader's helmet, so that makes it interesting. It's Vader holding onto his belt and pointing at you, but they use these blue highlights everywhere, so that it almost feels like an odd Marvel coloring. And then it's Luke with his "I'm a badass" putting my glove on, but they have all these red highlights, like including on his like lapel that's like turned, and it's just an odd highlight. And then the Stormtrooper is totally off model. He's just shooting, but it looks like he could be getting shot. There's just this whole fire explosion from his hands, like he has gun hands. And it's wow, what an amazingly bizarre image.
Isn't it? So there were multiple pieces that were made for that line, but that's the only piece that I have.
By Kidnap.
Kidnap.
And you figure it's pretty unusual, not very many of those would have survived, and then getting them across to the United States is kind of a trick sometimes too.
Yeah.
So I'm now looking on the archive, and I am seeing that there's also a C-3PO and R2-D2 headboard, and an R2-D2 nightstand, a Darth Vader desk, an Ewok and C-3PO bed footboard. Wow, that is really wild.
It's a good catalog.
And do you have all those?
No, this is the only piece that I have.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. That's just incredible to think how frustrating that you have. I can't think of anybody having more stuff than you have, and then the idea there's like 4 out of the 5 things you don't have, and like the only reason that we know they exist is because of your work anyway. So you could have put 20 other ones on here, and we'd all just believe you.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. It's like, not trust me. They're out there. Yeah.
The Emperor arm wrestling 8D8 headboard. All right. Well, Duncan says it exists.
It's got to be. Yeah.
All right. Well, then what's the last one, Duncan?
All right. Last item up for bid is our Star Wars yogurts. And so this also is from the UK. I guess this was a heavily Anglo-centric set of 5. But, yeah, so yogurt from a company called Dairy Time. And they did a line of, I can't remember if it was 7 or 8 yogurt cups that were very interestingly flavored, at least from my perspective on some of them. I'm not a big gooseberry fan. And
Chewbacca,
Peach Melba was Jabba the Hutt.
Fudge yogurt, which is what I say whenever I stub my toe. Fudge yogurt!
Fudge yogurt, yeah, exactly.
Stop.
Wow.
Dairy Time. Fudge yogurt. Wow. Yeah, and this, how big is the sign?
What's that?
How big is the sign?
Oh, so this one, there's 2 different sized ones, and this is the one I have, which I think is probably, 15 by 12 or something like that, 12 by 16 maybe. I would imagine the archive has the exact measurements on it. And then there's another one that's less horizontal, more vertical, and I don't own that one.
And it's really beautiful art. It's got the Darth Vader in the back. It has a Tatooine scene. The yogurts are all placed like they're on this rocky surface. There's like a starburst where I guess that would be where they'd put the price. This was like a point of purchase sign. Mm-hmm. And the thing that's really bizarre here, I'm going to get to be kind of a typeface nerd, but Star Wars is italicized. And I can't ever think of ever seeing Star Wars italicized, right? Am I looking at that wrong? It is italicized, right? It's everything.
I think it is.
And then underneath,
oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Underneath it says yogurts in a Star Wars font. I also can't think of non-Star Wars words being used in the Star Wars font, and it's really kind of clumsy. And I don't like. It doesn't quite work. But anyways, I'm sure
it's another one of those. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yes,
you know, the T into the S doesn't really do anything, and the G into the U and all that. Yeah,
no, it really doesn't. So I guess those are some larger questions for the Smithsonian. Is whether or not, how often is Star Wars italicized, and then how often in the vintage line were words other than Star Wars in the Star Wars font, because this is a good example of why you should not let them do this.
Right. And I think that's something that they do more modernly, too, is reuse the Star Wars font with the product name or the flavors or different descriptors. So I do think that that's something that's kind of picked up over the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
But it's even on the yogurt tins themselves that they write gooseberry.
Right, even on the yogurt itself.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right, yeah.
Huh. Wow. Well, apparently that is how Duncan you can get, Steve. How did you end up with that piece?
Beware what you ask, right?
Yeah, no, we really love it.
So I got most of the yogurt cups from that same couple that I was trading with in the early 90s, and have since learned that there's a minor variation in the Star Wars logo in how it's colored. And so I've started going back and getting extra, trying to find the ones that I don't have, because, I didn't have enough to do as it was. So
25,000.
I have to go find more things to get. But the poster, I believe, might have come from Lance Worth, if you guys remember.
Oh, yeah.
Lance, yeah. So he's still around, but back in the 90s, he had a storefront in Southern California and did mail order, and so I got quite a bit of great items from him over the years.
Yeah, he's definitely someone we should probably have on the show at some point, Skye.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know his name, but I don't particularly know why I know his name, other than he was around for a long time.
Yeah, he's still.
The name of his company was Jedi something. I can't remember off the top of my head now. And then he got kind of a cease and desist on that name, and had to change it to Star Force Collectibles. And so it was Star Force Collectibles through most of the 90s. But he actually had a storefront that was completely Star Wars, and he got interviewed on a few shows at the time. Sci-Fi Channel had done some stuff with him, and but he definitely is kind of a myself, Todd Chamberlain kind of person, in that he's very interested in a lot of the more offshoot type of items, and loves those as much as the toys.
I'm thinking about this. There's another California collector that I don't think we've ever talked about on the show, but I think of him in that same kind of Duncan Chamberlain area. I think it was SWCA. Do you remember him?
Yes.
Yes, and so that's you're right in there with Lance, because Lance sold when he got out of the thing in the 90s. He sold all of his extra inventory to James Borella, I believe. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name, BorYla, but that's Star Wars seller, SW seller.
Right.
Okay.
And so you're basically seeing second generation Lance stuff there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's so funny, because when you were talking about some guy in California, I was like, that reminds me of SW, because I have tons of, so much of my ephemera Chewbacca stuff came from SW Seller back in the mid 2000s. So,
yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Damn, that almost seemed intentional, but it wasn't. Awesome. That answers my question. What was the deal with SW Seller?
I think that Skye, that Chewbacca pin that I got you as a thank you for officiating our wedding, that was from SW Seller.
Wow.
It's funny that all comes around.
Yeah, so I guess he's still around, still selling off Lance's old stock.
Yeah.
And then
small world.
Apparently, Duncan, I just am looking at the show notes here, and I don't know if you're up for this. He wrote Marketwatch torture game. Loser gets weird temporary tattoo branded on their feet at the next archive party.
Interesting.
Now, the thing to keep in mind, Duncan, is we've had a lot of threats in our Marketwatch games over the years that have never come to fruition. So
right, exactly. Well, I definitely have to say that they're more fun to listen to than they are to participate in.
Okay. Well, that's good, because they're not too much fun to participate.
That's, I guess, the sadist of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm in if you're in, Duncan. But
all right, let's do it.
$1 Vlix. Marketwatch.
Okay,
good. It's only 5 items, okay. And it should be it's 8D8, so you would think it'd be painful, but hopefully it'll be painless.
Oh my! So these are only about 8D8 items. Holy
this is only 8D8.
Calamity.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll make it quick here.
Okay.
All right. So we've got 5 items. The first one is just what do you think a recent Return of the Jedi 77 back 8D8 carded figure in decent shape, ungraded, sold for?
Oh my god. My only saving grace is that Duncan probably hasn't bought a carded figure since the last century.
Exactly. $1.97?
Probably last one he bought.
Or were these one of the 2 for 50 cent ones?
Right.
Let's see. Last time I was at Child World. Okay, so wait, I have to write down. The only thing I have to write in is my copy of Kellerman. I don't think I'm going to do that.
Maybe not.
Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to write on the back of this Pizzeria Uno sign that my daughter made for me for Father's Day, because we always eat a Pizzeria Uno on Father's Day. Okay, so I am going to write down... Okay, do you have your number, Duncan?
Yep.
Okay, I said 150.
Okay. I said 85.
121.05. So wow, it's higher than I would have thought.
So yeah. I'm not good at math. Who won that one?
Let's see, 30. That would be. Let's see. What was yours? Was 150, right, Skye?
Yeah.
I think that's you, right?
I
can't do math
I think
anymore.
so.
Yeah, Skye gets a point. All right.
Oh, I feel my hand on the lever, Duncan.
All right.
All right. So up next, we've got it's a Return of the Jedi 65 back Canadian 8D8. So this is the Emperor offer Canadian version.
Canadian,
and it's also ungraded, but pretty good shape.
Man, those Canadians do not pay up for their Star Wars figures. I don't.
So it's a good thing to keep in mind.
Well, like, the British and the Canadians just need to, like, come up with an agreement of being non-American Anglophones where, like, the British people just chill out a bit and spend a little bit less on your figures. And, hey, Canadians, why don't you pitch in a little extra for your insanely rare figures? There's a real imbalance there. Okay, but I'm going to write down my number anyways. $45,000. No. Okay, I have my number. Duncan, do you have yours?
Yep.
Okay, I said $200.
I said $125.
A bargain at $51.84.
What did I tell you?
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, you were totally right. You can get a good bargain here.
So they're not. I don't
right.
have my hand on the lever. I have to say no. Okay, we're tied at 1.
All right, tied at 1. All right, round 3. This is a Return of the Jedi 79 back. So it's the Anakin offer. It's also nice shape, but ungraded.
Jesus. Wow. Who do you care? I don't. Okay. I have a number then.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I am saying that it is the same number as the back. $79.
Nice.
Okay.
I want 100.
This is a great number for this. It's 86. So Skye has got another one.
86.
Yeah.
Wow. You could.
86. Yeah,
People do not care about 8D8. Wow. Okay.
All right. So Skye's got a 2-1 lead here. We've got 2 more items to go. I figured rather than the figure, we since we've been talking a lot about the Jabba dungeon on this episode, I'd do 2 of those.
Oh boy.
All right. So the first one, what do you think just a complete loose playset of the Jabba dungeon playset would go for? So it's got the 3 figures. It's got the base. You know. Doesn't have much beyond that. It's the complete thing, but loose.
Okay.
And it's not graded, not sealed.
Not graded. No, just a run-of-the-mill loose complete playset with the figures.
I wrote down a number.
Oh, and not boxed even. It's not even
no
boxed.
No box. Just the playset.
Okay, I wrote down a number,
figures,
but just for fun, Duncan, if you're a completist with the Jabba dungeon playset with 8D8, is there anything more than just the one thing to get?
If you're completist for just the playset?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... no, not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
Huh.
Well,
it's. I mean, there's not much 8D8 to begin with, really.
Right. Right.
If you go with just card backs, there's what? Just Canadian, Letty, Trilogo. I've got a Power of the Force proof that's unproduced. That's about it, right, in the U.S.
Yeah.
And I think that may be all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. There's not many, because you wouldn't have a Palatoy, and you wouldn't have... Oh, Canadian. Did I say Canadian? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have a Sakuda, you wouldn't have a Meccano, so you probably just have those...
That small group. Yeah.
So you'd have to pay $1 million for the Letty, and then everything else you can get for cheap, as we're learning. So
yeah. I've never seen the Letty. Is the Letty a different card back? Does that look different at all?
I think it's fairly
the same.
similar.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got the blue plate. Yeah. But
okay, I looked it up and said, "Did you mean Lady 8D8?" No, I didn't. I still has that weird.
No, I didn't.
That weird sort of.
Do what I'm telling you to.
Oh my God. Oh well, Steve, I'm gonna do it to you. Huh? Do you know what a Lily Lady sold for?
Oh, so you're looking up on eBay? Oh man,
Wait, Steve. It sold 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. I had not seen it.
How did you not see this, Steve? Oh my. Okay, so I'll do this for you.
Or maybe I did, but I was
for you and Duncan. So it's a AFA 75 Lily Lady 8D8 that sold on June 18th, 2020.
I don't know how I missed that. You said it's graded 75?
Yes.
1,700?
Okay, what do you think, Duncan?
2,500?
It went for $6,000.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you weren't far off, Duncan.
No.
You said you're going to have to pay. Yeah. Wow.
Well, I was just looking up a picture just to see what it looked like.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, sorry. Back to our previously scheduled game. I'm just having so much fun, Duncan. I'm kind of like extending it out.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well,
yeah.
I used to do a Big Brother, Big Sister thing, like after school program, and the kids used to like hanging out with me and my friends so much more than going back home that when we drive them home, they would lie to me about where they lived. So they'd be like, yeah, just turn left. yeah, then just turn right. Yeah, then just turn right again. I'm like, you just went in a circle. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. Okay, so I said $60 on this, Steve.
60?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I said 175.
Wow, so this one went for 125. So, all right. Got a tie going in into the last round here, right?
Who is going to be the one saying no?
All right, so this, so keeping in mind what that one sold for, loose, how about a sealed version of the playset? It's not graded, but it's never been opened. The tape's still there.
Okay. I'm just writing down numbers, but I'm. Okay, I have my number.
Me too.
Okay.
All right.
I said it's $8D8, $880.
Okay.
I said 450.
Duncan wins. 400.
No! Oh my God!
And I was going to go for a full sleeve too.
Well, okay. I had this other thing as a bonus question just for fun.
Okay.
So on this sealed playset, it has the original Sears price tag on it. What do you think the original retail price was for this playset at Sears in 1983?
Well, again, Duncan probably bought it there, so.
Right. $18.99.
Yeah, I was going to say like 26.
A bargain at $12.99.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy, right? It's just.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's still not worth it.
No, I know.
I guess for the figures, but.
Right. Yeah. Figures. Yeah.
You paid for that, huh?
The playability was not quite there, was it?
Not quite. No. All right.
My
we survived the torture.
paternal grandparents would always give me the Sears exclusive every year, and so that's where I got mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And that's
so that was always
they
fun
order
to
from
look
the Wish book, or they get it there?
Yeah. And so that's what I got it for Christmas, and they would order it out of the Wish book. Yep.
Wow, that's really good. My grandmother saved me oyster crackers from restaurants, and so that's what I got from her. Was oyster crackers. I still love oyster crackers, but I could have gone for a Sears exclusive.
You'd rather go for a Sears exclusive, yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, this really worked. Getting some Duncan in on the show, Steve.
Yeah. No, we'll have to make this a recurring. You know, every once in a while, we got to get you back on for.
Awesome. Well, I'm always happy to do it.
Yeah. Great.
All right.
Hey, all right. So I'm back here. I'm recording again. I always end up feeling like I'm hanging up on people too abruptly, but there's just nothing you can really do. You know, it's hard to say goodbye, and
it is.
It's really fun talking to Duncan. That's nice.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
My only fear is that we might get too close to the oddball section from the vintage Rebellion.
Right.
But we were doing, unloved items before they were. So, but when he came at us with like 3 stationary items from England or whatever, I was like, oh boy, I'm sure they've talked about them, but the rest of it's just so good. And also like I could hear Duncan talk about the same 5 items on 3 different podcasts and 2 different celebration things. I would just be happy. Just the 8th time, it's like Big Lebowski. Like I could just hear him just talk about the stuff over and over again.
Yeah, no, it's his and he usually teams up with Jonathan McElwain for just like to me it's like one of the best panels. So yeah, anytime I'm always up for that. So
yeah, and so good. So boy, Steve, that was a pretty tight episode. I think that was that worked out well. We didn't get too Gargan Largan, even though we're talking about a torture droid. Which is pretty good. I mean, we are going to have to get into the full banality of evil and the whole Frankfurt School when we get into EV99.
But
we don't even get there yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the world is like by the time we get to EV99.
Yeah. That's,
oh man,
that's true. I mean, what'll happen to Splash Mountain, Steve?
All right. right, it's time for bed, Skye.
I think it is time for bed. All right, cool. Well, we don't really do feedback anymore. I don't think anyone cared about our last episode, but maybe they do. We got Holger out there, so that's cool. Why do I sound drunk, Steve?
You know what? It's that time on the clock. You know, it's a predictable pattern, but it's good. It means you're ready. You're ready.
Did you know the only drink I've had, the only sip of alcohol I've had for the entire quarantine was during the pod Mask of Death? So we should probably have another one of those so I can cut a little bit loose.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
Well then, wampa wampa.
Adios.
With his colorful Star Wars picture display stand and certificate.